Welcome to Footballin' for Life's Beginner's Guide for Apex Legends. Apex Legends was nominated this year's Best Ongoing Game for 2023, and I am a two-time solo can world record holder, providing you with the basic foundation to get you up and running from beginner to pro. In this game, you will find yourself up against some of the best gamers in the world. A fast-paced, tactical, very skilled FPS shooter, Apex Legends will provide you with hours upon hours of endless fun and improve your gaming skills dramatically. Arguably one of the best battle royale games available in the gaming industry right now. In Apex Legends, you will learn a vast amount of knowledge, so it is important to continuously learn if you want to improve over time. There are legends with abilities which you can use in coordination with your team to help overcome the odds. In this guide, we will go over the basics and what I wish a YouTuber taught me when I was first learning. I hope this helps beginners and pros alike on improving their overall understanding of the game we all enjoy called Apex Legends. It's important to understand the health system, so the first thing we're going to cover is the medkits and the syringes. Medkits take about 8 seconds to deploy and they heal you full health. To heal your shields, which is part of Apex Legends, simply use a shield cell. They take about 3 seconds to deploy and they heal your shields for 25 health. Next item is called a shield battery, and it will heal you full shield all the way from 0 shields. They take about 5 seconds to deploy, and make sure to keep these numbers in mind because they will come in handy when you are thinking about how to heal in later situations. Tab is the Phoenix kit. It takes 10 seconds and will heal you all the way from 1 HP all the way up to full health and full shields. The first thing you want to learn on your journey from beginner to pro is what various type of game modes that are offered and which ones to prioritize with your time as you're learning. There are Battle Royale game modes, which is 60 players in a massive map, and over time as the rounds go on, rounds 1 through 6, the rings get smaller in size. Eventually the ring will overcome the whole map. There are rank leagues available that allow you to progress in different tiers all the way from rookie to the top 750, which is the Predator rank. These are the priority game modes. The mixtape is going to be where you spend the majority of your time as a beginner. There are also limited time game modes that are different variations of the Battle Royale mode most of the time. And then there's a practice mode, which you will also spend a lot of your time getting better from beginner to pro. The first thing you're going to want to do is load up into the training mode, which all beginners should complete. This will introduce you to the basics of mechanics, the weapon system, the loot system, as well as the legends and their ability systems. Make sure to complete the checklist as they appear. This will give you the basic understanding of the movement systems as well as different systems throughout the tutorial and the game you will encounter. The most important thing to learn from this beginning sequence is how to slide. This mechanic is often utilized by pro players, and it will help you move faster and be harder to hit throughout the game of Battle Royale or any other type of game mode. Now, Bloodhound will introduce you to your first supply bin. Throughout the map, there are various supply bins that contain items that are necessary for you to survive. Make sure as you're running from the zone to zone to get inside of safety, you are prioritizing locations with these en route so you can find more supplies if needed, and you know where these supply bins are located. If you find yourself low on supplies in need of survival, you can go to one of these supply bins throughout the match and you'll get some more supplies for you and your team. Depending on where you land and where you choose to land at first is a very important part of going from beginner to pro. Most of the pro players, they prioritize landing locations that increase their odds of generating better loot from those supply bins. For example, on this map right here, we see areas in purple. They have better probabilities of generating higher tier loot. The areas in blue, they won't generate as great of loot, and you will often find yourself at a disadvantage in terms of beginning and middle game if you decide to land here. It's really important to understand as a beginner the importance of memorizing the high tier landing spots to give yourself the most advantage. If you're one of the best players and you play with the best team in the world, your odds of winning a game is about 3 in 10. So that means every 3 games you land out of 10, you're going to win 3 games. That's about a 30% success rate. So even if you have the biggest ego in the world and you're the biggest ego chow and you're a pro player, you're only going to win about 30% of your matches against all other opposition. So that means you have to prioritize a good landing spot, and it's also good to note that sometimes the best loot doesn't always mean the best position. The best position is actually one of the main ways to win in the end game. So understanding, I should land in a good location, but you should also memorize the points on the map that also have high ground. We'll go into that in further detail, but understand when landing, you should prioritize high tier loot and a good position on the map. That means high ground. For example, Team TSM usually lands at the wall on this map. And the reason for that is because if you look at Lightning Rod in the upper right hand corner shown by this red circle, you look at High Point and you look at Thunder Watch and the wall, these locations, the way the map was created, they are all the top ground locations, and they also provide you great mobility as you move throughout the map if the circle pulls down to the left around the cave and water area as shown in this circle right here. So make sure to prioritize a good landing location with good loot as well as good position. Another great feature that they introduced throughout the years was the implementation of the ping system. If you can use the ping system efficiently to describe the location of the enemy to your teammates, it is vastly in your advantage. So make sure to utilize that ping system. Use all the callouts that are integrated within the ping system. If you decide not to use a mic, even if you are using a mic, pinging location of the enemy is very helpful. Now Pathfinder is going to introduce you to the revive system as well as how to respawn your friendly teammates. The most common mistake I see beginning players make is going for the revive straight away. They don't understand that you kind of have to stay in the fight to revive your teammate. Too often they go straight for the revive once their teammate goes down, and they don't calculate mentally the time it takes to counter the push from their opponents. And it's too late. Their other teammate that is defending is overwhelmed on a 1v3 situation, and then you go down completely defenseless while defending and trying to revive your teammate. It's not a good algorithm, and you should prioritize kind of returning shots, getting a crack on them and some flesh damage before you go for your revive. If there's one thing you can learn from this guide, it's to make sure you give the opponents that are pushing on you some resistance, and you kind of make them hesitate before going for the revive. Don't go straight away for the revive. It's one of the worst problems I always see with new players. So if you can understand that, you'll be a great beginning player. Sometimes they'll have a really wide distance in between you and your teammate, so you have that 5-second time window to revive your teammate efficiently. But make sure that you can kind of guesstimate where their positions will be when they advance towards you. That way you're not in a bad position when you do get that revive off, because then they have to go heal, and it takes time to heal to get back into the fight, and you have to calculate all that timing mentally so you understand where you will be, in 15 seconds. Will your teammate be healthy? Will he be able to fight again? Or is he kind of out of the fight and you got to turn it into a 2v3 situation? If your other teammate is taking a lot of damage, he also has to heal now because he's defending. And you just have to assess that while you're on the go. That way you don't lose the match. Sometimes you just got to leave it completely if you're against really high-skilled opponents and they get that knock and they're close. Sometimes you just got to run away. So if you know when to revive, when to defend, and when to run, you'll be a really great player. Another important difference that many beginners have problems with understanding is the projectile-based weapon system in Apex Legends. Right here, I'm going to demonstrate with the wingman how difficult it is to line your shot up, because the constant moving reticule in the Apex Legends game system is a lot different from when you're used to, where it basically stays still when you ADS, which is aim down sight. Here, it's constantly moving, and you have to make small micro adjustments with your thumb or mouse to get on target. You have to understand the angle and how far away and what part of the reticle you're using based on the range that you're trying to adjust for. You have to understand the velocity of the bullet, the different types of ammo that have different bullet velocities. Like light is a lot different than a energy based projectile, as well as heavy being different from a sniper based projectile. And there's minor variations in speed differences, and understanding this system is very valuable at improving your overall skill as well as your improvement speed time to become a pro Apex Legends player. If you don't want to become pro, that's cool, as long as you understand there's a huge difference than most of the games that you've been playing, and you understand there's this weird projectile based weapon system, then you'll have an easier time hitting your shots, as well as kind of mentally imagining where the projectile will be. It's very different, and my main thing I want to communicate with you is just the fact that it's a projectile based system, and the projectiles change their speeds based on light, heavy, special weapons, energy weapons, and understanding these little details is very important so you can line up your shots correctly. The next thing that's really important about the projectile based weapon system, as well as the FPS shooting system, is the recoil patterns. Now right here you see those little red dots on the screen. Those are indicating that those are really good hitbox level shots. The yellow is indicating headshots, and there's different types of hit markers that you can now use in the firing range to improve your accuracy and your understanding. Right here I'm exemplifying the recoil patterns with the alternator and trying to demonstrate basically that there are many recoil patterns you must learn to master the weapon system correctly in this game, and there's different ranges that are very effective for different types of weapons. Like right here, the SMGs are usually effective anywhere from 20 to 0 meters. Understanding the ranges of each weapon is very important, as well as the recoil patterns. There's ways you can counter the recoil patterns, as demonstrated right here. You don't hold full auto, but you do controlled burst of around 5 to 7 shots. Another important thing to understand is where to line up your reticule for the first shot. Now, it depends on each weapon, it depends on the recoil pattern of the weapon, but ideally you want to be aiming at the inner shoulder of the right or left shoulder, and you should be aiming for the chest. That is the biggest target to hit, and it's usually the most accurate in the long run. Another important thing beginners have to understand is the importance of getting high ground. In any fight, you should always be trying to get on top of a building and above your opponent. This will make it easier for you to hit your first shot. It'll make them harder for you to be hit, and it is the key to winning in the long run. And you see right here, it's very effective, and you can hide very easy if they take shots back at you and damage you. You also have some time to heal yourself to basically get back in the fight, and you can also see what they're doing. And then just to once again emphasize the importance of learning how to line up your shot properly for the first shot is very important when you're fighting at medium and long range. The next thing we're going to discuss is strafing speeds. When you're moving, when you're not aiming down sights compared to when you're just kind of running around with your gun, it's a lot different as far as how hard it is to hit you, as well as how accurate the projectiles are when you first start shooting. So we're going to go over that in just a small detail real quick here. So as you see, when you're ADSing, your strafe speed from left to right is a lot slower. During that same time frame that we were just doing the open strafes, you can see that your character model doesn't move as much and it's not as fast, so it's basically easier for players to return fire and hit you easier. Whereas if you open up your stance and you move from left to right, it's harder for them to hit you, but you will become more inaccurate. As here you see demonstrated, while you're moving from left to right, your shots are very clustered, and demonstrated right here, when you're opening up, your shots are very inaccurate. You want to be anywhere from 5 to 0 meters when you're hip firing, which is opening up your stance. And if you are like right here demonstrated, that is the most effective range. when you're outside of that range, you do not want to hip fire. As you see, it was very inaccurate. We will demonstrate right here just how the inaccuracy of the hip fire will be. So you see right there, I was ADSing, and now we're comparing it to the open hip fire inaccuracy. As you see, the projectiles are everywhere, and it is very inaccurate. So we're going to go through here, and we're going to show you the new technique that you should now know, which is controlled burst technique. Now right here I'm demonstrating once again the accuracy of strafing while ADSing. It's very accurate, but it leaves you at a disadvantage as far as being easier to hit. And now we're going to demonstrate the effectiveness of the open strafe, not aiming down your sights and just kind of moving around in a circle. This is another strafe you should know, the circle strafe. So instead of just going left to right, you're going forward, right, back, left, and you're repeating that for either a clockwise or a counterclockwise motion. Those are the two main strafes you should know. Those will make you harder to hit, and it will be a good fighting technique to learn as a beginner. Those are basic strafes. The next thing you're going to want to learn is basically how effective the controlled burst is with ADS compared to open strafe hip firing. Hip firing is often underutilized by beginner players, and you should learn that when you're very close, 0 to 5 meters, you should be utilizing hip fire. And as you see right here, we're going to show you the effectiveness of the ADS. Behind cover is something you should always utilize as well. See how I'm behind the box right here? This is what most pro players will do. They will not stand out in the open and exchange shots like a boxing match where they're just clobbering each other. They will stay behind cover and peek out and do small by small damage, eventually getting the crack and running into the finish. Right here, we're going to show you how effective the controls is with the hip fire. Right, so you're at range, you barely fire off a few 1 to 3 shots. As you see, it's a lot different than holding full auto, and it's very accurate. So that demonstrates the inaccuracy, and then this will show you the accuracy of the control. And the next thing we're going to go over is how crouching makes you more accurate. So now you kind of understand ADSing, the trade-off between strafe speed being harder to hit, and now we're going to talk about crouching. Crouching makes you entirely more accurate. We're going to show you here with the ridicule why it's important to crouch in some situations and how it will make the projectiles more clustered and centered in the circle. Here we're going to go back into first person mode, and then I'm going to show you with the ridicule you'll see on your screen how it changes. See how it clusters together when I crouch? That will make you more accurate. When you jump, you see how the ridicule kind of opens up, and when I crouch it closes. That helps you identify, you know, while you're moving, you see how it opens, and when you crouch it clusters. That will make you more accurate by understanding what is the best accuracy position as far as crouching versus moving, strafing, jumping, and that will help you understand how to improve your accuracy with this projectile based weapons. So then the next thing you should understand is the health systems and kind of the loot system. So you'll see these shields, the white shields start you off with 50 and they go all the way up to this red shield, which is 125 shield health. The gold shield will heal you 50 shield if you have a shield cell, which we'll go over, and that's the only difference between a gold and a purple shield, is when you heal with a shield cell. You can level up your white, blue, and purple shields all the way to red if you do a lot of damage. It'll show over your shield how much damage you need to do to level up your shield. If you revive your teammate while you have this equipped, it will revive them with health and shield. Not full, but it's very useful. You'll find these little boxes where you can retrieve any of the given items that you will find throughout your matches within the box. Easy to change your loadout and train with different weapons. Right here we have an ultimate accelerant. This helps speed up your ultimate ability acquisition, enabling you to get your ultimate ability faster. If you see those around the map, you can utilize them to level up your ultimate ability faster, enabling quicker access in given situations. These things are called balloons, and you'll find them throughout the map. They basically help you get across open ground quickly into the next rotation, to the next best position. That's how you kind of utilize them, and you utilize them to escape from what are called third parties. Right here I am demonstrating basically the ability to charge 50 shield health with a shield cell, which is the main difference between a gold and any of the other white, blue, or purple, or even red. It's the ability to heal 50 with one cell rather than 25. This is a lot different than a lot of the modern day first-person shooters, Call of Duty or Battlefield, where you regenerate health automatically after a certain time passes. These ones you have to strategize and find when the best timing is to replenish your shields, as well as when you may be re-engaged in the battle. You'll have to figure that out as you advance in your Apex Legends career. This is a quick overview, and I hope it helps you improve your understanding of the health systems and how you are supposed to fight throughout the game. Offline, you'll find this ability really useful. It's her passive ability where she throws out those drones with health. So you can basically get your health back up and put you back to a good level to fight against. It's very useful in resetting the situation. A reset is basically when you disengage from the battle, you run and heal, and then you try to fight. Different levels of stocks, magazines, as well as barrel stabilizers in different sites throughout the game. These ones depend on your preference as well as your loadout. So you'll find them all, and you'll have to learn all these as you progress in your career. So that's the end of the guide. The things that I want to stress, the most important thing to do as a beginner is to get a whole bunch of reps fighting a lot. Don't play the Battle Royale modes that many times. Just play it, 5 times a session. But you want to really be in those mixtape modes, Control, Team Deathmatch, Gun Game. You want to be getting a whole bunch of reps. Even though I'm not a beginner, that's still how I train most of the time, because you're just getting a whole bunch of experience, EXP, by getting in those live situations against live opponents after you warm up in the firing range, and then that translates into excelling in the Battle Royale game modes. Basically, like 1/5 of the hours is your competition, where your competition will spend 5 years playing the game, and you'll be just as good as them with less than 25,000 kills total. Meanwhile, the guy that you're beating has been playing the game, for 5 years and has over 100,000 kills, but you're able to compete because you utilize this method that I taught you here today. That way you guys can still, carry on and enjoy your lives while you're still kicking ass online and taking names. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this guide. Leave some likes, leave some comments, get some subscriptions, and review all my other material I made available for you so you can improve in a short amount of time.